Well, I never thought we'd actually get here. Welcome, everybody, to my end of 2020 top 10 movies. I know, it's March, but as you've seen over the past few months, I've been trying to catch up on as much as I can in the way of, every movie that came out in 2020, at least the big ones. And I think I did pretty good, but there were still a good amount that I wanted to see that I just didn't get to because by this point I was like, all right, it's just time to do it. And I think pretty much everything I've seen were the contenders from my list. There were a few others that I'll put everything in the comments below. What I did see, what I wanted to still see. I think there were only maybe one or two that I didn't that might have had a shot at making the list, and that would have been Promising Young Woman and News of the World. And Freaky, I would say, because I heard that that was very entertaining as well. But those, I think, are the only ones that I didn't see that probably would have made this list, maybe. Definitely would have made it a lot harder because this was hard. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a few honorable mentions, and then we'll get right into the top 10. So, for some honorable mentions, Mank. That's the other thing. Since I don't have editing, I've printed out all of the posters, so enjoy. Saint Maud. The Gentleman. I know this wasn't technically a 2020 movie. It was like tail end of 2019, but I think it came out in theaters for us in 2020, and I saw it in 2020, and it was a good movie, so I'm going to put it on there. Guns Akimbo. Da 5 Bloods. And The Sound of Metal. All right, let's get into the top 10. At number 10, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. This was a definite shock for me to put it on this list because I thought it was going to be a very boring slice of life movie. And it is slow, and it can be kind of boring, but it was incredibly heartbreaking and very revealing, and it was just I would watch it again. Because the two lead actresses just did an incredible job portraying all of these hugely terrifying and very upsetting emotions, but also just in a very real daily life sense. It was incredible. At number 9, One Night in Miami. A lot of people are saying that this movie, the dialogue is too dramatic. I think I talked about this in my mini movie review, but when you have a movie that's set like Malcolm and Marie or Ma Rainey's Black Bottom in one location for most of the time and it's just talking, it's going to have to be a little interesting, and so it's probably going to get kind of dramatic. But again, I think that actually worked very well with what was being said, and honestly, I loved all four characters, and I thought that it just brought up such great issues, and I love debate movies like that, where it's like back and forth and all these really great points, and no one really wins or has like the right answer, but it's just like, where do we go from here? I thought it was very well done. At number 8, Onward. I thought that this was underrated. A lot of people, when it came out, I had heard not a whole lot about it, and I had heard mostly that it was just, a standard Disney movie. Standard, I think it's Pixar. Yeah, standard Pixar. It's hard to remember which is which anymore. But that it was just kind of regular, and people were like, yeah, it was good. But honestly, I thought it was a little better than that. Yeah, it wasn't like the best one, but honestly, it was pretty tight. It was really good. It had a lot of great moments that like come back to the end. I loved the relationship between the brothers, and I love fantasy and magic. So I mean, all the magic stuff in here, all the spells that they use, and how they come back at the end, I thought was really great. All right, number 7, Happiest Season. This is another one a lot of people aren't talking about. And even when I was coming up with my list and I was talking to Jared about his list, both of us were like, oh yeah, people aren't really talking about this a lot. And I even forgot when I was coming up with my list until I looked back at everything I reviewed. But it was just so good. It was such a surprise. Honestly, a lot of these movies on my list are surprises how good they were. And part of that reason that they're on here is because of that. But it was really great. I thought it was just going to be, like everybody else, another Christmas Hallmarky movie, but No, it was really great. It was very entertaining. It wasn't too serious, but it wasn't too stupid. It had a lot of great heartfelt moments for Christmas, but it also had a lot of great messages. Kristen Stewart, Mackenzie Davis did an incredible job with their relationship, and it was a very great cast. Daniel Levy is in it, so that already boosted up another point. And yeah, so I just thought it was very, very good. I mean, it was incredibly entertaining and a instant holiday classic, I'd say. At number 6, Palm Springs. I was not going to watch this at first. I saw the promo and I was like, that looks like another generic streaming movie that took a theme and a plot that's been done several times over and it's just going to be something normal. And a couple of my friends were like, no, it's actually pretty good. And watched it and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was one of those, a couple of these were kind of those movies this year that I was like, I could watch that again right now, and that was one of them. It was very funny. It had a new take on this plot, and it just was so heartfelt. It had like a really good story and really great characters, and that's really, I mean, the heart of every movie is, the horrors are getting better, the comedies are getting better, and that's because people are taking the stories more seriously. And so I just thought this one was really entertaining, and J.K. Simmons trying to shoot Andy Samberg in the face. I mean, what could get better than that? Number 5, Run. This was one of those little horrors that, or thrillers, I guess, that I knew a little bit about, hadn't really known too much about it till I saw it. And when I watched it, it was like constant anxiety for an hour and a half. And it's not like it's one of those that I'm like, it's my favorite or one of my favorites because I would watch it every day, but it was just so good that it made you feel it the whole time. And it also, Sarah Paulson was not a fan of her. And then I saw her in this, and I don't know, it turned me around a little bit because she was just so good. And the directing was so well done. There were so many shots that were very striking that I did not see coming. And the end I did not see coming. And it was just so well done. They did a very good job with that thriller aspect, but also a lot of these other little moments emotionally. At number 4, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I love this movie. From the moment I saw it, I think it was one of the 2 this year that I like. Before I did my actual review on it, I did like a little video being like, "You need to go see this." It was so great. I mean, Chadwick Boseman's last role, like I said, it was very telling of like his entire career as an actor. He had everything in there. He had the heart, he had the emotion, he had the sadness, he had the cheer. I mean, it was great. It was an incredible last role for him, and Viola Davis as well did an amazing job. And it was the 20s, and it was jazz, and I just loved it. It was like one of those smaller movies, and it was just incredible. I loved it. At number 3, The Invisible Man. This was the other one that I think I came back from the theater and I was like, you need to see this before I did my actual review for it. I mean, that one is the definition, I think, of shocked for me because I went to see this movie at 10 p.m. on like a Monday night, Thursday night, and I was like, this is just going to be a regular horror movie. It's just going to be, whatever. Maybe it's going to be a little good, but it looks kind of generic and, whatever. And boy, was I surprised. I was blown away. The ending, I think, got away from me a little bit, but other than that, it was just, there were so many moments where I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, including a moment that it's like, I think the all is lost sort of moment towards the end where I did not expect that. I did not see coming. It happens so quick. You don't even process it for a second. It was like an out of body experience when that moment happened. It was just so good. It was definitely one of my favorite. I mean, it was originally, when I made the list at first, my top movie. Before I caught up on all these other ones, it was my number 1. I loved it. It was the only one so far that I've actually gotten from, I think it was Black Friday. I got it somewhere down here. But I actually got it on DVD now. Okay. These last 2, easily Both of them easily could have been number one. I even thought about doing a tie. I just thought that that would be such a cop-out, and I've already done that many times on this channel already. I figured, Matt, you got to be decisive at one point in your life. But there was one that I thought was... One of them is does something different, but technically is a little off just here and there. And one of them I thought was, for the general public, probably pretty standard. I don't want to say generic, but standard. But I got me really passionate. So, at number 2, Soul. I wanted to make this number 1. I really did. I literally just had to go with my gut. This one is I love movies, Pixar does this all the time, and I talked about this in my review, that just are able to take like the theme of just live life and put it in a plot, because you have to have some sort of concrete plot. But it's cool to have a movie where you're just like, there's no like concrete message other than, hey, life is cool. Like, and it very easily could have been one of those movies that, you know, they go to the soul realm and it's like, ah, let's explore the soul realm, let's explore that area and that area. And it really could have been that and been an incredible movie, and would have been like, yeah, that was cool. You know, I like seeing all those, like, let's see what you do with like dreams and stuff. But they didn't. They did something new. They kind of turned it on its head halfway through. And then by the end, you understand why they did what they did, even if it seemed out of place. Personally, I still am not a huge fan of like the second half of that, you know, like you know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. That whole subplot, because I felt it kind of went on a little bit long, and it seemed a little, until you get to the end, you get it then, but at that point it seems like we're kind of dragging our feet. We don't know what's happening here, but the end ties it in. That movie feels like it ends where it should begin. Like, you know, it was one of the best Pixar movies. I think it was Pixar. I'm sure it's Pixar. To come out. Even if it wasn't perfect in every beat the whole way through, it was original. It got me thinking, and it is a very adult movie, not in terms of like inappropriateness, but like it is very adult in terms of its themes. This is one that's going to reach adults for sure. And it is an incredible movie based on what it did. So, my actual number 1. I probably don't have as much explanation as I did for Soul. I think I wanted to explain why I didn't put it at number 1. But for my number 1, it was one that got me passionate. It was one that probably maybe is number 1 just because of the times we're living in and who I am as a person right now. And honestly, I'm very shocked it's my number 1. But it's The Trial of the Chicago 7. As I said in my review, I'm not a person who like loves law or government or anything. Like, I find that actually kind of boring. So again, I'm shocked that Soul was number 2, because that's very active and imaginative and everything. But I don't know. It just, maybe it was because it's just so relevant right now, and it just hit home for a lot of different things in our lives at the moment. And the fact that it has an incredible cast, and it's Aaron Sorkin both writing and directing. His writing, I mean, I love his writing. It's very quick and catchy and funny. So, I mean, I love The Social Network. I mean, that's probably my favorite of the Fincher movies. But it really just captured this, like, passion for, like, let's fix things, you know? And I just thought everybody in that movie did an incredible job. Every scene was tense. Every scene felt like you were a part of something. Every scene felt like we gotta work together here. And it was just incredible. And another, like Sarah Paulson, I was not a huge Sacha Baron Cohen fan. And between this and Borat, specifically this, I have been turned around a little bit, because I found that, you know, yeah, he does take things seriously. It always felt like he was doing stupid roles, but they're stupid in a way that it's teaching something or it's showing something. So, Trial of the Chicago 7 is my number one, and again, I'm surprised about that because it is a like a court drama, and that usually turns me away very quickly. But it was really great, and it has my man Ready Eddie. Yeah. So, like I said, Promising Young Woman, News of the World, Freaky. Those would probably be the other ones that if I saw them, they might have made this list. Maybe honorable mentions. Um, Yeah, so I'll put everything I saw in the comments below. I'll put what I still wanted to see. What were your top favorite movies of last year? Now that we've kind of gotten to a point where we can see all of them. Oh, and also, Minari. Minari, I think is how it's pronounced. I was going to wait until I could watch that one to put this in here because I'm fairly certain that's a fourth one that would have made the list somewhere, if only honorable mentions, if not the actual list. But it doesn't come out on streaming until like 2 Fridays from now, and I just wanted to get this done. But I will put an asterisk next to Minari, and I'll let you know. You guys know I'll do like a little review on it. I'm going to do an actual review on it just to let you know how I liked it, what I thought about it, if it maybe would have made this list. But again, we're just going to chalk this up to it was a weird year. This coming year it won't be like that because I will have seen everything at a point in time, and it will all have probably come out. I don't think anything's going to be postponed later than October, if not till next year to be like a movie that came out next year. So I don't think we're going to have this problem again. So let me know what your favorites were. Let me know what your least favorites were. I'm kind of interested in that as well. For me, two of my least favorites probably would be Tenet and I'm Thinking of Ending Things, if you're curious about that. Yeah, and look forward to more. We've got a lot coming up in March, a lot of Disney movies, a lot of Marvel stuff, and I'm pretty excited. So, as always, keep your hopes high, your stress low, and movies right in the middle. I'll see you guys later.